Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are with your respectable time zones and locations. Today, I'm going to teach you how we can change the default port number from 22 to anything else, whatever you like, in SSH. Now, in order to change the default port from SSH 22 to something else, we need to first test that what is the port number we are using right now in our machine. The most easiest way with which you can test it is by checking netstat. So I'll say netstat-ntlp and let me grep for SSH. So you see SSH is working on port number 22. For this experiment, I'll be using two different machines. One I'll be doing the changes and the other one I will be using for connectivity. The machine in which I'm going to make the changes is 192.168.10.30 and I'm calling it mlinux30. And the other machine from where I'll be connecting is 192.168.10.20 and this I'm calling as mlinux20. So as of now, if I go to mlinux20 and from 20, if I try to connect to 30, so black terminal I have dedicated for 10.20. If you just say if config enp0s3, you'll come to know that this is my 20 machine. So from 20 machine, if I try to connect to 30 machine, let me tell you one more thing that I have done SSH trust relationship, as a result of which whenever I connect from 10.20 to 10.30, it is not going to ask me for password. Please do not think that when you connect from one machine to other, it is never going to ask you password. That is not the case. Why it is not asking me the password? Because I have done passwordless connectivity between 20 to 30. So if I say SSH 192.168.10.30, right, and I'll be using the default port number 22. I'm using -p option to show you that I'm using port number 22. If I use some other port instead of 22, you see it would say no route to host. I'm not able to connect to port number 222. But instead of 222, if I go with my default port 22, it got me connected to 30. You see earlier I was on mlinux 20 and now I am into mlinux 30. So this is the way how you can connect from one Linux machine to other machine in SSH. If I have not done the passwordless setup or trust relationship, it would have definitely asked me for the password. Okay, now my requirement is on 10.30, I wanted to use a different port number apart from 22. I want it to work on some other customized port. So what are the steps I'm going to follow? Step number 1, I need to edit the file etc ssh sshd_config. Now in this configuration file, I need to mention that which port number you are going to use. Now you have to decide first that which port number you are going to use. In my case, this is the test environment. So almost all ports are free. Whichever port I want instead of default port, I can use it. Probably I'll go with 2222, 2222, right? So let me edit the file by vi editor, etc ssh sshd_config. Now in this file, if you read this file, there is a line which is commented that is allowing port number 22. By default, in SSH, the port number that works is 22. Now, if you want to change that port, first of all, come to this line. If you want to see the line number is 17 in this configuration file. In different Linuxes, it might be different port number, different line number. Over here, it is 17. Now I'm going to uncomment that port first of all, that line, and I'll mention different port. Maybe you want port number 22 and one more port, then open a new line and pass the parameter port 2222. Now in this case, it is going to allow two port number 22 as well as port number 2222. Now in my case, I don't want two port number, so I'm just changing the default port number from 22 to 2222. So I want this port number to be worked as my default port number for SSH. Now whenever you are changing the port number from 22 to anything else, or you're allowing a new port number, whichever port number you want, you need to ask SELinux to allow that port number. Now, if you don't know what is SELinux, kindly visit to my SELinux chapter, which is available in the YouTube video sections, right? So you need to allow SELinux to work with port number 22. Because you are dealing with security and SELinux manage the securities of your system, so you must tell SELinux that this port number should be authorized. And as you authorize that port number, SELinux will not create any problem for you to use this port number. So we need to tell SELinux to allow port number 2222. So step number 1 is done. Now step number 2, let me check that SELinux is allowing which port number for SSH. So if you look out, the SSH port under T, this protocol or this service is allowing only port number 22 from SELinux point of view. Now if you want it to allow port number 2222 also, then you need to run this command semanage port -a. Whenever you are adding a new port to be allowed in SELinux, you have to go with -a. Suppose if you want to remove it, then instead of -a, you can use -d with the same command. So it will remove that port number and SELinux will not allow that port again. So as we want to allow, I'll go with -a. The type is SSH port under T, under which with the protocol TCP. SSH comes under TCP protocol followed by the port number. So I'll also say semanage port. I want to add a port and the type is SSH underscore port underscore T with the protocol TCP. I want to grant access to 2222. It would take a moment to complete that task. Okay, it finished. Let me just check it out whether it has granted access to port number 2222. Yes, it has allowed access to 22 and 22. That's great. Now the next thing, what we have to do is firewall. See, firewall is responsible for connectivity of most of the thing. So check in firewall, have you allowed a specific custom port that you want to work with? See, in firewall, SSH service is allowed. When you allow a service in firewall, by default, it will only allow the default port. For example, SSH's default port is 22, so it will only allow port number 22. Whatever custom port you have mentioned will not be allowed. Same way, if you have allowed FTP, it will only allow port number 21. If you have allowed SMTP, it will only allow port number 25. So if you are using a custom port, then you must mention that port number to be worked with. So let me add in firewall the custom port. So I'll say firewall command --add port. which port number you want to allow 2222 with respect to TCP. And I want to make this change permanent. Whenever you have made a change in firewall, do not forget to reload firewall services, otherwise it won't get updated till next reboot. Because you have made a change permanent, the next step is to reload the firewall services. And now if you look out for list all, you'll see that double two and double two is allowed with TCP. Now you can just check out netstat-ntlp and grep for SSH. See, SSH is still allowed on port number 22. So what we need to do now is we need to reload the services. Step number 1, editing the config file is done. Step number 2, allowing it in SELinux is also done. Step number 3, allowing the custom port in firewall is also done. Now the last thing what I have to do is restart or reload SSH services. So I'll say systemctl restart or reload, whatever you want, sshd. Now go back to your 20 machine. So I'm back to 20 machine, and let me try to connect with default port number and see whether it will work or not. Before that, you can again run netstat command and confirm. See, last time it was allowing us on port number 22, whereas now it is allowing on port number 2222. That means the new port what we want is replaced the previous default port. Now let me come back here and let me say SSH connect to 192.168.10.30 with port number 22. It says connection refused. Or if you have telnet installed, you can say telnet 192.168.10.30 with port number 22. So it might say you connection refused, because now 10.30 is not working on port number 22. It is working on port number 2222. So let me try that port number 2222. Is it allowing me to connect? Yes. See, again, I'm telling you that I have done passwordless setup between 20 and 30. So whenever I'm connecting from 20 to 30, it is not asking me for password. But if you have not done passwordless setup, the only thing it might ask you password, and you have to type the password. That's it. Now let me say exit, and I'm back to 10.20. So this is how you can change the default port number from 22 to any custom port you want. So every time people are connecting, if they are connecting with default port number, like if I don't mention any port number, by default it will go with port number 22 and connection will get refused. Even if you try to connect from PuTTY terminal, you take a PuTTY terminal, give 30 and give port number 22. I want to connect to this IP address with port number 22, and when you say open, you'll find that the connection is refused. So this is the way how you can change the default port number. Now I want to teach you one more thing now, how to redirect a port number. See, I have changed the default port number from 22 to 2222. Now what I need to do is everyone who wants to connect to my machine, I should inform them that you should not use port number 22, rather you should use port number 2222. At first place, why did we change the port number? See, in most of the organization, we don't want to use the default port number for security reasons, for server hardening, to make the security more stronger of your organization to your server. So we don't use the default port numbers so that it can be exposed to hacking and all things. But if I keep on telling everyone that which is the port number you are using, it's like you have locked the door and you are giving the keys to everyone. So what's the rule of locking then? So what I want to do here is I am using port number 2222, but I don't want to tell people that what's the port number I'm using. My requirement is let the people try to connect using port number 22, but they should not know that exactly which port number I'm using. So people will be connecting to my server using port number 22, but when the request is coming, I want that port number to be redirected to 2222 or 2222. It's like people are coming to me and I'm sending them to someone else. So people will be hitting port number 22 and port number 22 will forward it to 2222. This is called port forwarding. That means you are sending the traffic which is coming to 22 to 2222 or 2222. This is called redirection or port forwarding in the better manner. Now, how can I forward the port 22 traffic to 2222? Now, this can be done by many ways, but the most easiest way is with the help of firewall. If you check firewall command list all, you'll see there is an option called forward ports. By using that option, you can tell that whoever is connecting to port number 22 should be automatically redirected or forwarded to port number 2222. It's like on your mobile phone, you have forwarded your calls. People would call to your number, but as you don't want to take the calls, you will redirect it to someone else's number. Maybe I'm on leave and in my office number, whenever people call, I want to redirect it to someone who's taking my place for that vacation period. So how we forward the calls, the same way here, I'm forwarding the port numbers. So in order to forward the port number, we'll take this command into consideration. We'll say firewall command, add forward port. I want to forward the port. Which port you are trying to forward? So I'll say forward port number 22. With respect to which protocol? I'll say with respect to protocol TCP. And to which port number you want to transfer it. So all the traffic that is coming to port number 22 should be forwarded to port number 2222. And I want to make this rule permanent. Whenever you have made the rule permanent, never forget to reload the firewall services. If you don't reload the firewall services, the change will not take place because you are making a permanent change, right? So this is the command what we have to work with. Let's execute that command. First of all, there is no such port forwarding done. So I'm telling firewall command to add forward port from port number 22 to port number 2222, and that should be a permanent rule. It's successful. I need to reload the firewall services. Done. Now, if I go with list all, you will find that port number 22 traffic will be sent to port number 2222. Let me go back to my 20 machine. This is mlinux 20. Now it would try to connect with port number 22. Did you find any problem? No. So port number 22 traffic is now navigated to 2222. With this, I don't have to tell every of my client that what is the port number I'm using. So the default port I'm actually using is 2222, but people think that we are connecting with port number 22. So with this, I have changed my default port. And at the same time, people did not know that what port number I'm using. They are connecting with port number 22 only, and it is navigating to port number 2222. Even if you connect with a PuTTY terminal, You just say the machine, port number 22. Last time connection was refused. Now if I open it, go for it, you see I got connected. And if you check netstat command, netstat-ntlp, grep for SSH, you see I'm still using the default port number 2222 only. So this is the way, guys, how you can change the default port of SSH for your machine to making it more secure. And you can also forward a port traffic from one port to another port. So that is it, guys, for today's concept, what I want you to learn. I hope you have been benefited with this session of this recording, what I have done. Please do come back for more. Visit my blog, www.musab.in, for more information, or you can follow my YouTube channel for more videos. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe. See you next time with a new video.